So your 401k is about to become a playground for billionaires, and guess who's the toy? So Trump is about to sign an EO that will allow us to invest in the private market with our 401k. It's like private equity, crypto, even gold, right? It sounds fancy, but it's kind of risky. See, normally your 401k is in stocks and bonds. Those are easy to sell at any time. But private equity is a liquid, meaning if the market dips or you need cash, you can't just pull your money out.
Then, if you were listening really closely, came the admission about what Schwarzman's real goal is.
If there's a change in that area, that becomes a huge opportunity for the firm.
A huge opportunity for the firm, meaning big money for private equity. You can almost envision the dollar signs in his eyes.
If you have a 401k or any kind of retirement plan, you need to hear this. Donald Trump just signed an executive order that could change what's inside your retirement account, and not in your favor. So basically right now, most of your retirement savings sit in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. But under this new order, your 401k could start holding alternative assets. It sounds fancy, right? But here's what that actually means. Private equity, which is risky, high-fee investments usually reserved for the ultra-wealthy.
The rich have been eyeing and spying the 401k's of American people for quite some time. And they've had quite plans, and they've been working so hard to make sure that they have access to that. And looks like they are coming close to that. And that's because on Thursday, President Donald Trump signed an executive order to allow your retirement money to be accessed by the rich, which means your money is going to be invested in private equity. And when we talk about private equity, that's capital that is invested in companies that are not listed, they are not made public, but you can put that money. A lot of people are raising concerns on why would he even want this? After these people got tax breaks, now they want to touch the money of the people that have worked so hard to save their money for retirement. I'm not sure if they will have to be asked and they will say yes or no, but from what it is looking like, your money, there might be some risks that are involved. Risks like you may not be able to access your money in times when you need it. And we have a lot of people that are educating in here. I want us to listen to them. But welcome to the channel. Do me a favor, like the video, share it, so that we spread this awareness. And let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back.
If you have a 401k or any kind of retirement plan, you need to hear this. Donald Trump just signed an executive order that could change what's inside your retirement account, and not in your favor. So basically right now, most of your retirement savings sit in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. But under this new order, your 401k could start holding alternative assets. It sounds fancy, right? But here's what that actually means. Private equity, which is risky, high-fee investments usually reserved for the ultra-wealthy. You got real estate deals that you can't just sell quickly. You got commodities like oil or gold, even digital assets like crypto. And here's the kicker. These are the same kind of investments that lock up your money for years and charge sky-high fees, win or lose. You know how the rich can afford to take big risks? Because they've already got the millions in the bank. That's not us. We can't gamble with our money that we've been working 20 and 30 years to save for retirement. But this order makes it easier for Wall Street to dip into your nest egg and harder for us to hold them accountable if things go bad. They're even pushing to limit lawsuits against the companies that manage your retirement. So if a risky deal blows up, you take the hit and not them. And let's just be real for a second. This isn't about democratizing investing. This is about opening up a $7 trillion pool of American retirement savings to private equity firms, hedge funds, and political donors who are chomping at a bit for your money. They've been locked out for years, and now they're getting the keys thanks to the Trump administration. Imagine logging into your 401k in 10 years and finding out that part of your retirement was sunk into a real estate deal you never even heard of, or a private company that went bankrupt. You can't even sell it to get your money back. That's what's on the table. And the worst part, most people won't even know it happened until it's too late. So here's what you do. Watch your plan updates. Look for words like alternative assets, private equity, or real estate. Ask your HR or plan administrator if they're adding these investments. They're gambling with our retirement, and if we don't pay attention, we're the ones that will lose the game.
We will have regular meetings with the president, and it's supposed to be every month, and so that's a very interesting thing in a rapidly changing environment.
The audio you're hearing is from a Wall Street earnings call from 2017. You're hearing billionaire Steve Schwarzman, the mega Republican donor and CEO of the world's largest private equity firm. Schwarzman had just been appointed to run incoming President Donald Trump's new Strategic and Policy Forum. During this conference call back then, Schwarzman was boasting about directly advising the president while also running his company, Blackstone, which has all sorts of investments that intersect with the government policy that Schwarzman would be helping to shape. Schwarzman eventually started talking about one of his lifelong aspirations, the white whale of the entire private equity business.
In life, you have to have a dream, and one of the dreams is our desire and the market's need to have more access at retail to alternative asset products.
Alternative assets. That's a euphemism for private equity, hedge funds, and other complex and opaque investments. Those investments are so high risk and charge such high fees that federal laws have long prohibited Wall Street from putting workers' 401k savings into them. But here was Steve Schwarzman, a top donor and advisor to President Trump, saying that his dream was to get those laws changed. And he said his dream was all about an altruistic desire to help America's struggling retirees.
At the moment, a lot of people are not allowed to put those into retirement vehicles and other types. What it's doing is denying people sort of a better retirement.
But then, if you were listening really closely, came the admission about what Schwarzman's real goal is.
If there's a change in that area, that becomes a huge opportunity for the firm.
A huge opportunity for the firm, meaning big, big money for private equity. You can almost envision the dollar signs in his eyes when he concluded by saying,
there's an ability for something to get changed that could be really, really impactful.
In Trump's first term, private equity companies ended up getting a lot of what they wanted. Billionaires like Steve Schwarzman got huge tax cuts, and Trump preserved the special tax loophole that lets private equity moguls pay an artificially low tax rate on the money that they make off investors' cash. And yeah, Trump's Department of Labor kinda took a baby step to try to make it easier for private equity to get into your 401k, but it didn't really go all the way. At the end of Trump's first term, private equity billionaires still didn't land their white whale, unrestricted access to Americans' 401k accounts. But now fast forward to today. 8 years after Steve Schwarzman's conference call, his dream of policy changes letting private equity tap into Americans' retirement savings now seems on the verge of becoming a reality.
So your 401k is about to become a playground for billionaires, and guess who's the toy? So Trump is about to sign an EO that will allow us to invest in the private market with our 401k. It's like private equity, crypto, even gold, right? It sounds fancy, but it's kind of risky. See, normally your 401k is in stocks and bonds. Those are easy to sell at any time. But private equity is a liquid, meaning if the market dips so you need cash, you can't just pull your money out. So imagine your money locked away for years. Private market investments charge way higher fees. Think 2% annual plus 20% of your profit. That eats into your savings, so even if you earn big, you still gonna pay big in fees. Now, your public stocks, they get priced daily, but your private stocks, not so much. They're opaque because you're mostly trusting the fund's inner numbers. That could mean overvaluing assets or even hidden underperformance. So the big equity firms are gonna likely own the best opportunities, and we get the scrap. Real investors might end up paying more for worse deals than the institution. Yeah, so it could feel like a chance for bigger returns. However, but you're basically giving up flexibility, transparency, and you're going to pay more, while rich people still get all the perks. It is another move that favors Wall Street, not Main Street.
So we have to keep worrying about our 401k plans because Donald Trump just signed another executive order allowing private equity firms, allowing actually 401k managers to invest in private equity firms. Why do you need to worry about this, and why are financial advisors sounding the big alarms? Well, first of all, private equities are investments made in not publicly traded companies, okay? And they are generally owned by a small group of investors, which usually include the owners, think family ownership of these companies, okay? Think of all the multimillionaire and billionaire owners of companies that are not publicly traded that donated to Donald Trump to help buy the White House. Okay, we're talking about these people. They want access to our $12 trillion 401k market. When I say $12 trillion, that's our money in there being invested so that we can retire. Why have they been fighting the last 3 months? Not really fighting, doing a lot of lobbying with Republican politicians, whining and dining them and so forth to urge Donald Trump to sign this executive order, because these private equities made bank during COVID. They gobbled up all kinds of other companies that were struggling. Well, here we are today. The economy is nose diving and they're being impacted. So they want to save themselves and actually make money off of your investments and my investments by accessing our money in our 401k's. The other reason this is sounding the alarm, I'm just going to read this verbatim, because private equity investment are often concentrated in a small number of portfolio companies. Trump donor-owned companies are less liquid than stocks and bonds and carry valuations that can be difficult to measure day to day. Of course, you're counting on these MAGA-owned companies to be forthright with their company's profits. Anyway, and because private equity funds in general don't beat investments in stocks. So what this means is whoever your investment company is, whoever's managing your 401k, I just got to repeat again, you got to figure out some way to find out if they are MAGA supporters, because they are going to break all kinds of regulations and you won't know it. Nobody will know it. And they're going to support MAGA billionaires, just MAGA evangelicals, by moving your money around into their favored companies. They're not supposed to do that, but you gotta figure out if you've got a MAGA supporting financial planner, and you gotta move.
Okay, so I know everybody thinks that it's okay to govern by executive order these days under Trump, but I just wanted to come on to talk briefly about your 401k's and private equity. I'll probably do another one on 401k's and cryptocurrency because that's a different animal. But I just wanted to clarify some things that I think, seeing a lot of scary, be scared, be afraid videos out there. And I think it, from somebody who's actually worked in the industry for 35 years, but I'm a banker, retired, but worked in wealth management and trust and fiduciary pretty much my entire banking career. So I actually have some experience on this. All right, so right now, if you have a pension plan through your employer was already investing in private equity. It's their money, they're holding it for you, so you don't really have a say-so in what they invested in, but they're looking for returns so they can have the money that they promised to you for your pension plan. Now, over the years, pension plans have gone by the wayside and employers aren't offering new employees for pension plans. Are saying you need to invest in an IRA or 401k, and we'll incentivize you by matching your contributions up to a certain percent. So that's how it's mostly working today. So I'm going to set aside pensions, but they were already invested in private equity. And so now we have all seen the executive order from Trump touting that, you should be able to invest in private equity. And here's the thing, you've already been able to do it, and your 401k's have already been able to do it. So I want to say in the first Trump administration, he had the Department of Labor issue a letter and ask whether allowing plan administrators, which are your employers, to invest in private equity for their defined contribution plans, and would that be a violation of ERISA, which is a law that governs employee retirement plans. There's also other regulations called Reg 9 that governs the fiduciary activities of national banks. So the two of those two together work to ensure that your employer is operating in your best interest, and that they're not speculative with your money, because this is your it's not only your retirement money, but this is money that's coming out of your payroll. So it's your wages that are being deferred into a 401k plan, and they may match it with their own money, but it's your money. So they have a duty to you to act in your best interest. I hope that makes sense. So what Trump was asking in the first administration does this activity for private equity investments in a 401k, does it violate ERISA? And the reason is private equity is a little bit more risky. You don't want to do this when you're close to retirement, because private equity investments kind of tie up your money for a long time. You can't trade them every day. You can't trade them like mutual funds. At the end of the day, based on net asset value. You can't trade like exchange traded funds. Usually what happens is you can, if you know what you're doing, you can invest in a private equity company, or you can invest in a private equity fund. Either way, they are more riskier investments. And so the opinion was allowing your plan administrators to do more private equity doesn't violate ERISA. So that's what happened. So when Biden came in, he asked the Department of Labor again, and they basically took a more conservative approach. So his administration said, okay, it's not a violation. And Biden's administration asked the same question, is it a violation? And they didn't necessarily say it was a violation, but they just didn't recommend it, right, because of its risk. So now what Trump is asking the Department of Labor to do is to state again, is it okay? And he's doing that through his executive order. So let's see, what else do I want to say about this? So that's actually where we are right now. It's not like there's a law. It's just whether or not you're going to be able to sue your employer if they invest your funds in private equity and they've lost the money, and you can prove that they weren't acting in your best interest. They breached their fiduciary duty. What's important to understand is that the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, has a law that talks about when you have, let's say, for example, mutual funds within a 401k, that most of the assets have to be liquid, that you cannot hold any more than 15% of a fund in illiquid assets. And private equity would be considered illiquid because you just can't get to it easily. You know, they lock your funds up for a while, 5-10 years, whatever. So most mutual funds, and that's a majority, you know, even exchange traded funds where you are kind of trading on your own in a brokerage account, or if you have a custodial account with Empower or Fidelity through your employer, those mutual funds can't really hold a lot of private equity. And most people are not savvy enough to try to do these cryptocurrency and private equity investments. Most people are doing mutual funds, and maybe if you're retirement focused, you've got some kind of retirement fund where the assets held in that fund are more conservative, right? So it would not be a good fund management move to start arbitrarily investing in private equity, but it's something to keep your eye out for. So I know there's a lot of doomsday videos going around, but for those of us who know what's really going on, I just kind of wanted to share that with you, so that if you do have a 401k, it's not, you kind of should be more concerned about Trump's tariff talks, and because that actually affects the bond market and the stock market more so than additions to investment types that you can invest in. So I hope that helps. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so this paves the way to allow Americans to invest their 401k retirement accounts into a new group of alternative assets that includes cryptocurrencies, as you mentioned, like Bitcoin, that also includes private equity and real estate. So this executive order directs the SEC as well as the Labor and Treasury departments to update their rules to give investors access to this. Now, this means alternative asset managers would be getting a whole new pool of funding, but experts are warning that this could put Americans' retirement savings at risk. Also, President Trump, he did receive a lot of funds from cryptocurrency companies for his campaign. Also, some say that President Trump's family could stand to benefit from this change as they...
So President Trump just signed an executive order that's designed to make it easier for your employer to offer you the option of investing some of your savings in what are called alternative investments, like private equity and private credit. Those have normally been the domain of institutional investors like pension funds and really rich people. The order is really just a first step. Don't expect to see big changes in your plan anytime soon. First, the Department of Labor and the SEC will need to revise their guidance to your employer to let them know what they have to do if they want to offer you these kinds of alternative investments. Second, once that happens, the employer needs time to digest those new rules and then go through a process to examine what new investments they might want to include. So why is President Trump doing this now? For years, the private equity market has been gunning for workplace retirement plans. It's more than $12 trillion worth of investments in that market, so it's potentially quite lucrative for them. But for investors, the potential benefit is that you will get broader diversification. Why? Because the private market has grown so much in recent years and the public market hasn't grown. But what are the potential risks? Until now, private markets have been less transparent, riskier, more expensive, and the market isn't, quote, liquid the way public markets are, where you trade stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. That's why some critics, like Senator Elizabeth Warren, who's a top Democrat on the Senate Banking Committee, has been very vocal about her concerns opening up these markets to retail investors like you and me.
Private equity billionaires want to make money off you,
And I got some serious questions.
So what's the bottom line for you? Your 401k plan may be changing, but only if your employer decides they want to offer alternative.
Welcome back, my loves. I do hope that from wherever you are watching this from, you are doing all right, and hopefully God has protected you and preserved you very well. I do appreciate all of you that support me on here, my members. Big shout out to you guys. Those of you that like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel, you are highly appreciated. We are definitely back with your man that doesn't want peace. He wants problems always, and looks like they are gambling and playing, games with people's money. Especially considering the fact that the Biden administration still wanted to do this, but they were like, there's quite a number of risks that are tied to this, and they didn't want to take the risk. Looks like there's always money scandals in each generation. I'm not sure if you guys have had scandals with money, but where I come from, there's quite many. And for that reason, sometimes I don't want anybody to gamble or play with my money. And from what it looks like they want to have access to that so that they make more. Yeah? They're going to tell you that you're going to make more as well. Yes, you might. Yeah? But should you be concerned or should you not? From the clips that you've looked at, I guess these people have explained everything very well. I may not be able to touch each and everything, but I know that the people that gave their explanations in here really covered the entire topic very well. Personally, I feel like it's not worth it, especially if you're close to retirement. Now, let's say, and I'm not even sure if before your employers give access to these funds, I'm not sure if they will ask first, because just in case something happens and these people disappear with your money, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go to? Like I said, these equity funds, these private equities, for some reason, not listed. So it's probably your employer or, the people that manage these funds that are able to tell which one is trustable and which one is not. But what if the whole plan floats when American people retirement money, all of it is in there? And then on top of it, just in case you want to get that money, it is going to be so hard for you to access it in the time you need it. Because again, like you had the sister, this money is locked away for quite some time. So which means you are not going to decide and be like, I need it now. Yeah? And then the fees are also much. I don't know why a lot of them palm-colored people are obsessed with making money so quick of other people's money. I had someone that I saw firsthand that sold their land and they were scammed into crypto. Yeah? And they put all their money. They were palm-colored, by the way. Yes. Because they were told, each year you're going to be making this much. I don't know the story about crypto. I'm very skeptical about that. Yeah? But those of you that are investing in crypto, maybe you'll let me know. Maybe you have nothing to worry about. But part of where your money has to be put is going to be crypto too. Yes. Crypto, real estate, and more other things. Yeah? But I was telling you of a story of the person that sold their land. Yeah? Invested in crypto, all the money. Yeah? About 300K USD. All of it was lost because after investing and investing and investing, just out of the blue, the people that they were investing with disappeared. Just like that, the money was gone. Now I can only imagine how risky this is, especially if it involves crypto or any kind of loss. Something can happen. But also, why are they insisting on making sure that private companies can have access? Or let's say, why are they insisting that billionaires, rich people, because this is not backed up by just Trump, this is backed up by billionaires. They have sold this. And you know that when he does this, he's not acting in the favor of American people. No. He's acting in favor of the billionaires that he's always acted in favor for. Give them tax breaks. You heard one of the clips in here, and oh my goodness, that was so scary to even listen to. I guess it is time for you guys to open your eyes and say something. And it is just an executive order. It has not been made law yet. But from the look of things, anything is possible in the Trump's administration as long as it concerns money. Because trust me, they are money hungry. They are money thirsty. And they will do whatever it takes, even if it has to involve your money that you've worked so hard for. Even if they have to get rich off that money. Something that I had almost forgotten. This to me sounds like control. They've wanted to control everything. And now they are coming into these funds too. And they will have to control when it comes to you and when not. How does that sound to you? I don't know. But I think from me for today, that's it. I want you to let me know what you think in the comment section. Share the video, like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Let us spread the awareness. I do love all of you, and I'll see you in another amazing video. Until then, my name is Gracie, and stay safe. God bless you, protect you, preserve you, and yeah, watch over you. Bye.